Okay, can you hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up in the chat if it's perfect. Okay. The oil of God, according to the Voynich manuscript, is the olive oil. I mean, that was considered the oil of God anyway in Christianity. Um, so we're going to um, so we are going to talk about Folio 116, but it's extremely language. There is a, I apologize. There's a gnat flying around in my face. Um, so this tells us what the language of the Voynich manuscript is written. There's two, but the is all Latin. It's 90%, well, 99% Latin, and the rest is just one German word, Samen for seeds. So this is uh, the cipher key, and for lack of a better word, that's what I call it. But to be honest, it is it's not a classical cipher. It is a linguistic cipher at best. Latin. Um, yeah, highly with layered meanings, of course, which is where you kind of get into secrecy and everything. But he used that to his advantage, that different letters, uh, you know, you're writing in a medieval hand, right? Medieval handwriting. That's where we get the word minim from, M-I-N-I-M. It's basically, if you write M in medieval hand, it just looks like a one giant wave. You can't tell where the I, N, or the M's are. So hence minim. Um, so it's this kind of idea that he just took what as a scribe, um, and because he letters C R I the same when you write them fast or you just put them down to paper really, uh, that acts like a cipher, right? Um, plus it being highly redacted, that helped as well. Um, he didn't use macrons for uh, straight lines above letters to represent missing letters, and typically a macron or an N, but it could be other letters. Um, but at the end of a word, a macron over an M or an N just means missing two letters, EN and EM. But because of where he was from, he doesn't use macrons. He uses what you call a backwards flourish. You know how you write an M and the tail sends that tail up and over the letter. So that acts as the macron. Um, I wrote an outline this time, so quicker. Um, okay, so I want to pull up the actual manuscript so that you can see this better. Drew some little doodles here, a woman and an animal of some sort. Looks like This one reminds me of a kid. And this creepily looks like a face, but it's really not. It's just a hole with the other. You could see the other. Audio is not clear. Okay. Then it must be a driver problem. Which is interesting because when I play this back, I can hear it just fine when I actually play the live back on YouTube. So I don't know. Is that any better? Thank you. Any better? I might have to do my webcam as a source. Let's see. I'm going to capture the audio, I think, on my issue. Let me know if it's fixed. I switched something on the top. Is it any better? I hope so. Test, test, 1, 2, test. Okay. Audio output. Not fixed. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay. Check, check. Checkity, check, check. Okay, so I hope this works better. It seems like it might. At least I hope so. Excuse me. Is this any clearer? Much better? Much better? Or just, meh? Volume is low. Okay, well, on here, I have it as high as it can go. Maybe I remove the filter on it. It's better signal, but the volume is low. Edit filters. Okay, we're gonna remove that. Is that any better? I removed the noise suppression. Well, the mic is the webcam. So. I'm gonna have to start yelling, I guess. I don't know. There's not much else I can do. I only have so many audio sources here. Let me try one more thing. Let's see. Is it it loud enough? Because I don't want it to be so low that you can't understand what I'm saying. Okay, so if you think that the manuscript was written in a single day and night, no. Mm-mm. It's literally written in the field. Okay. Good, perfect. Yeah, so he was there in the areas that he was visiting. Like it was not something that he wouldn't visit a place, came back, and just wrote it in a day. It took years for him to do this. So if he saw a plant, he would draw it, paint it, right then and there. I mean, you could see where he put all the papers together when the paint was still wet on multiple pages. Alchemical? No, not in like classical alchemy. It's way off in left field on what anybody would have ever thought it's actually about. Yeah, but let's get into it. Okay, so I've got a ton of my notes and books, but y'all are gonna love this. My little note card. I still, to this day, have to look back at it because there's so many. There's actually a lot of words, you guys. I know it doesn't seem like it, but and then with how he mashed it, he takes liberty with when he mashes different words together to make it more confusing. He takes liberty with that. So I often have to have my little card or my book next to me to make sure I don't mess up. Because there was this one time I was extremely tired and I was working till 2 and 3 in the morning on this, and I made a mistake, and I was like, oh my god, and I had to go back through the whole thing and find that one mistake in every little part. So thank God we live in modern times and all we have to do is like Control H in Word. That helps a lot. But all right, let us get going. And don't mind me, I'm having a Voynich plant. I start my morning with a Voynich plant, coffee, and I end my evening with a Voynich plant, not all the time, glass of wine. So that still doesn't give it away, really, not entirely. Okay, so this is the cipher key. People have been tripped up on it because, yes, we recognize that this is German, right? However, down here we've like, what is going on with all of this? This is not German, but this is right here. So neem ges mich, okay? But people have been spelling this as an A, this as an A, this as an A. But those are not A's. Okay? It's an E and an I. Just written extremely fast. E and then I. Remember I was talking about minims? This is a good example. Right? This is an E and an I, E and an I. This right here is an A. So people have been saying so neem gas mich, even though they know gas mich is supposed to be geis mich, geis mich, Geismich. So that's not Ola de Bas at all, because Ola de Bas is not a word. Doesn't make sense, right? So this line up here is Vox, Leben, Winnen, vinifer. Okay, the word or voice, but it's the word of life, the wine-bearing vine. That's referring to Jesus. Okay, because of course it is a Christian person, European man, writing this book. Okay, who obviously knows German. Okay, and then we have here Michi tone, right? So in medieval Latin, in a lot of words, when you have an H, you supplant a C in front of it. Because classical Latin, this would be mihi. In medieval Latin, it's michi. Okay? And then you have T-O-N, tone, or ton. But that's not a word. It is an abbreviation of a word. And that is totiens. And you can find this in Campelli's Lexicon Abbreviaturarum on archive.org. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and pull it up. Okay, and so this is Michi totiens. And because this is an EI, it's olei. Hi, Sparatek. Hi, thank you for joining. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah, so this olei. This is not, this is a D, okay? So it's olei dei, right? And then bos. So these are not D's, these are S's. Okay. Dei bos. And even then, bos is an abbreviation, okay? It's the abbreviated form of beatus. So it is Michi totiens olei dei beatus. Okay. And we have the entire inscription here. Okay. It says Michi totiens olei dei. No, so Sparatek, I think it's what, Occam's razor? The simplest reason, in other words, the one that makes the most sense, right, is usually the simplest reason. Yes, there are, of course, incidences where they say truth is stranger than fiction, right, and all this stuff. Showing palaces? Down where? Oh, the celestial map? Is that what you're talking about? Yes, I'll discuss those as well. But no, it's not Hollow Earth origin at all. Okay, so where was I? Okay, Michi totiens olei dei beatus numen licet quatuor talis tenior tenere naturalis ordinare triplicis mixtura simplex mea regit enim habitent mei rei enim aster ordinat curati cum, and this is where he starts speaking in Alemannic German. Welch uberen so nim geis mich. Okay. What's really neat about this is how he spells the word Welsh or Welsh, right? It's with an EI. And that is not typical German. In fact, that spelling is only in Switzerland, Swiss German area of Kent, Thurgau, and Argo, so northeastern Switzerland, Welsh. Okay, and so in English, and that indicates he's a Swiss German monk, right? So he says, I have myself so often been blessed by the oil of God. The divine power permits the four. And so he's referencing the four humors. Okay? Such am I held to keep the natural order, a simple mixture of threefold. The threefold meaning the oil, the stars, and the plants, used to create electuaries. Because medieval times, your medicine was an electuary, which is, usually they use honey, but he uses oil. Okay, I'm sure he probably puts honey in there too because he kind of makes reference of sweetness and another like marginalia note that he makes to himself. So that was the source of medicine, is crushed up seeds and plant material inside of oil. Or in this case also electuaries, which are basically a nice way of saying, or not electuaries, sorry, elixirs, a nice way of saying tea. It's a tea. You know, the very liquid form rather than the oil form. So yeah, these two types of medicinal concoctions. Okay, and so that's what he's referencing here. It says, "It ruled over mine, and it was ruled by my authority. For indeed, let them live for the sake of my being." And then this last sentence really pushed everything forward in my research. It says, "The star determines the cure with strange things beyond or from afar. So take my spirit." Now, to a European man, right, during the early 1400s, what would be considered strange and from far away to a European at that time? And he was a learned man, right? So he was a monk. He was a scribe. So he was very knowledgeable, more so than the average person. Most people couldn't even read. So we have a learned monk who is learning, or knows how to, I should say, at this point, to make cures from strange things from way beyond Europe. And the only place during that time frame, other than Africa, was the Far East. We're not talking about the Afar people. I know what no. So, let's focus. So, the Far East is where he went. So all of the plants, the majority of them, are from the Far East. There are some from Africa. There are. So that's cool. But let's move forward. Okay. So now we know that the monk is Swiss German. Okay. He uses German and Latin inside the Voynich abbreviations. Okay. All right. So this is the cipher key. Okay. So we talked about the backwards flourishes. Okay. Instead of macrons, we talked about the spelling of Welsh. Okay. We also talked about the fact that there's Alemannic German and medieval Latin. Okay. Also, there is another indication of a Swiss German origin on Folio 73 verso. Okay, 73V. And that is a piece of artwork. It's art that indicates this. Okay. This is the zodiac sign for November. And it's the archer. Notice his hat right here. Okay. This hat is very specific to a specific region in Switzerland. Okay, the Kingdom of Burgundy and Alsace, France, in that area, wore the chaperone. Okay, it's this really nifty little hat, common, very, very popular in that area. Okay. See, this is the chaperone. It's got this tube-looking thing. These are kind of corny-looking images. Let me see if I can find something a little, like a painting or something, a little more regal. I think there was one of oh my gosh, that's from my brain. It's a painting, and I cannot for the life of me, and it's one of my favorite painters. I'm just going blank. That's, oh, here we go. He's not even wearing it in this one. What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Okay, so this is a chaperone, okay, or a head roll. This right here. So that was popular in the early 15th century in the area that the author, who I believe is Clemens Specker, was from. Clemens Specker is known to have written only one known work called The Chronicles of the 95 Rulers, which is a chronicle of the Habsburg dynasty's entire history. Okay, and most people don't realize this, but the Habsburgs are not from Austria. They actually are from Switzerland. That's their ancestral seat, is Switzerland, specifically Canton Argau. Okay, and Windisch, which is the city or the little town, is where our sacristan monk lived and worked at Koningsfeld Abbey. Okay, and that abbey was built by the Habsburgs, okay, in the early, I think, 1300s, and the castle, their first castle, was right there as well, like stone's throw. So both the castle and the Koningsfeld Abbey, where Clemens Specker lived and worked as a sacristan monk, was right there. So now we have a direct correlation with the Habsburgs. And it fits the time frame beautifully, because when he wrote the Chronicle of the 95 Rulers, it was 1478, so he'd have already been at an older age. But it's odd that he was commissioned to do such a, grandiose work for a royal dynasty just out of the blue. So it is my opinion that he was commissioning both works, both the Voynich Manuscript and the Chronicles of the 95 Rulers, by the Habsburgs, because it costs money to travel, right? And so he was commissioned to go find foreign medicines and to bring that knowledge back. And I think he did so well with the Voynich Manuscript that they commissioned him to do the Chronicles of the 95 Rulers. Excuse me. Okay, so let's move forward from the history of that. So we have Clemens Specker, okay, born in Canton Argau, right around the corner from there, probably around 1400. Okay, maybe a little bit before that. Okay, so let's move toward Folio 1R. Okay, that's the very first page of the manuscript with text. Okay. So this is the strange script. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm kind of need to check on something. Elvish? No. It's like I said, it's medieval Latin and German. Give me 1 second. I need to check on another live feed to make sure that I didn't mess anything up. Oh, and so this is my my book in the NSA's National Cryptologic Museum.
cool. Zodiac and the Salts of Salvation. Ooh, 1932. I'll have to check it out. Thanks. All right, give me just a few moments. All right. I appreciate. I think I got booted off of TikTok. They kind of don't like it when I mention, or even it appears to look like mentioning of. Excuse me. Of work outside of TikTok. Like even this image right here might be misconstrued as that. So commission encoded for the haps. Yes, Trevor. Yep. Yep. And I talk a little bit about that at the beginning of my book, which is, where's my, oh, there we go. Here's my other works, okay? So we have, of course, the Voynich Manuscript, the Cipher and the Compendium on the far right, but I also have my other two research projects to the left of it. But at the beginning of this book, which is what we're going over now, I'm scrolling through it. I'm just not going through everything. But you're more than welcome to purchase it. You can purchase it on Ingram Spark or Amazon. Amazon, of course, is quicker shipping. I feel like Ingram Spark has better quality on like the cover and everything, but I mean, you can get it quickly through Ingram Spark too. You just have to pay a little bit more. So my other research involves the decipherment of the Manuscript, which that's now deciphered as of this year. It didn't take me too terribly long, maybe like 30, 40 days. This was so much easier than this. Hi, Ray. So why the encryption of the text? I'll try to speak a little bit louder. I apologize. I have to use a different audio source because the other one's now crackling. My other headset is also giving me a problem, and the second one was brand new. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So I wish there was a way for me to just, I don't increase it more. Let's see if I can do a filter. Edit filters. I have no idea what that would even do. Let's see. Is that any better? I added expander. Can you hear me? Checkity check check. Did that work? Did it work? Did I fix it? Oh gosh. Output gain. Is that any better? Oh. Oh, that's it. I think I figured it out. Yes. Clock that. Clock that D. Gosh. So I added an expander filter and just put the output gain at like 18.9. So now I don't have to yell and y'all don't have to like put your ear up against your devices. So perfect. Okay. Yes. Okay, so this is my decipherment of the Indescript. And then this one is about the identification of the sacred plant, which is called Haoma in Zoroastrian religion, and then Soma in Vedic religion. And you have to remember that the Zoroastrians, the Persians, were at one point the same people in like deep time, right, with the Vedic people. Indo-Aryan. So I identified the sacred plant, but I also identified the original Berezaiti, the sacred mountain, and the original Sarasvati River of Hinduism. So, and they're not what you think. So the Sarasvati River here is the Swat River. It still kind of retains the name Suat. Anyway, so you're more than welcome to purchase these as well. You can find them, these two, on Amazon currently. I think I have both in paperback. I only have the Voynich Manuscript, the Cipher, and the Compendium in hardback. I'm trying to get it into paperback. Perfect. Yes. Okay, so now that I've rambled on about that, and then I'm going to ramble on about this, and this is, of course, my book in the the NSA's National Cryptologic Museum. Big thanks to Robert Simpson, who is the archivist and librarian of the museum there. So, all right. He takes wonderful pictures, don't you think? All right, let's get back to it, because we still have a long way to go. Sometimes these lives go on for 6 or 7 hours because I don't have to, but I want to explain everything as much as possible. The book could be called Supernaturals, Natural Remedies and Cure-Alls that are simply super. I love it. That's cute. All right, so all right, y'all gonna have to follow along with me. I'll try to break it up a little bit so you can start to get the gist of it. I do have a glossary in the book, but I'm gonna expand it in the 3rd edition shortly. Okay, so where do you want to start? I think we should start with the names. Okay, so there are 2 names on this page of the book. Okay, he names the herbal section and he names the astrological astronomy section. Okay, he names the astronomy section or the astrological section first, which I'm kind of surprised by that. Excuse me. And then the herbal section last, even though they're flip-flopped in the actual book. Okay, so here is a C with a backwards flourish. Okay, this right here, as it stands, acts as a C with a backwards flourish. Okay, it can also represent other things, just like so many other words. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so this is acting as a C with a backwards flourish, only in this one instance the entire time. Okay, and this is actually confirmed in Capelli's lexicon, right here. Okay, so we've got codex. Codex. Here's a 9 for con. Okay, this is an F, but it's also an ST or an RT. Okay, it does all three things by itself. Okay, it acts differently in other ways elsewhere. But even though it has these, everything has a layered meaning, there's still a constraint to those layered meanings and when they apply. So you'll see. So this is a 9. At the beginning of a word, 9 represents con, cum, sen, and even can, C-A-N. So here it's con. This is acting as an S and a T. A long S and a T. Const. Okay? And then an A and the symbol for rum. R-U-M. Okay? In medieval Latin, hand, a loop also represents or can represent missing letters. So not only is this const, right, but this loop has a secondary function of representing missing letters in between here and here. Okay? So now this is constellarum. Constellarum. This is an A. This is straight backed. This is an R. Okay? With a backwards flourish. It's a R rotunda. So this is codex, codex constellarum, constellarium, aster. Okay? The Codex of Star Constellations is literally what it says. And then the other name of the other portion of the book, which is the herbal portion, okay, is right here. Okay, this is an O and a rum. Oh, aurum, right? This is a C. This is a 7. This is an R. Okay? Cure. Or cur, but you would say cure in this instance. Okay? There are missing letters here, but he's ciphering this. It has to be uniform, so he does not put a loop. It's understood in this word. Okay? Curatorium. Okay? This is also orium. He doesn't write I's very often. Okay? Curatorium. There's another word that looks so similar to this but has an added mark in between. And that means curati, aurum. Okay, so let's confirm. Okay, we've got the herbal section, which is the curatorium. We've got the constellation section, which is the Codex Constellation Oster, or the Codex of Star Constellations. I want to bring up another feature of it being Germanic, Swiss German, in origin. Okay, the word curatorium was first seen in text in 1801 in the Times of London in an article. Okay, it is a German word. It was originally spelled with a K, not a C. So in Germanic monastic circles, the word curatorium was being used. That's where it is known to originate from. Okay, so now we know that this is Germanic. Okay, because, and this pushes it back even further, the use of the word curatorium is now much earlier. So no, it's no longer 1801, okay, but it's the early 1400s. Tracking? I'm going to keep going. Alright, so I've translated this entire page. So we're going to read it. I'll read a little bit of Latin, okay, but after speaking for so long, my voice does start to hurt. So I'll switch over to the English. Again, we have a lot to go on, and I've spent a lot of time, too long, talking about other things. So let's move forward. Okay, so I like reading this little section because it, gives it a drum roll. All right, so after over 600 years of attempting to decipher MS-408, dubbed the Voynich Manuscript, we will finally be able to understand its contents. And with much abated breath, this is the translation of the Voynich Manuscript. Sola cuius codex constellarium aster, constructa amene curatorium rectae oras electo esse cum flores curatorium sed, enim oras erb aster. Oras folios annuus cui laboro amene curae aster annuus electuari. Electuari sancti et cetera, altum terra flores ordinat, constituta amene curos electuari. Cum electuari enim sedera amene, et cetera solum olecius, hoc laboro eodem et enim orum oleatus electuaris samen, hoc stellarum ordinat ort aliter, enim annuus cum creati aster, electuarium celestia et celsia amene cum sedera advertis. Right? Solely through the Codex Constellarium, and I put star, I should put aster, Codex Constellarium aster, the curatorium constructed at dawn. Let the correct hours be chosen, indeed those of the flowering curatorium, also the hours of the herbal. The calendar page's hours are also those which work to heal, moreover the electuaries. The holy electuaries and the rest, also the arranged earthly flowers, are determined from a greater electuary healing, since the electuary is indeed from the morning star. Now, I have Venus here. It's not Venus. It's the sun, the morning star. I initially thought it was Venus, but it's not. It's just the regular old sun at dawn. Furthermore, only the olive tree, okay, and because these oleated electuary seeds arise in the garden in the same manner, yet with greater healing, the electuary is heavenly and very potent when you turn towards the stars. So now he's telling you, or telling us, the olive tree is important, right? Oleated means oiled, right? We're talking about the electuary seeds, gathering them from the garden, talking about the stars involved in the greater healing from the electuaries. Okay, so now I'm going to read all of the English instead. Okay, it says true, the stars are the rulers of the heavens. The movement of the stars guides the work of the cures of the stars with this cure of cures. But I create this page with the oil of which I create the electuaries. Everyone whose health is cured by flowers is cured by the more potent seeds, but ordinary seeds work in the same way also. True health is the heavenly cause of these sayings, for the healing is completed or made. This was my first translation, so this should be constructa, right? Is made by heavenly powers. The highest heavenly healing is the source of all healing, the healing of the pages with the oil of truth. Their birth year is the healing of their health because of the herbal seeds, healing with herbs, flowers, heavenly seeds. And the healing of the celestial electuaries is the cure of this health. Health is created by the seed of all of them. Health is created by the birth year, okay? We have to focus on that birth year, which is Ort ani. Okay, in this instance, he's using the word ort, okay, as the word for birth, okay. He uses the word for garden, or ortus, okay, because in medieval Latin you drop an initial H on words, so he didn't have to write an H, which is why you see those O's throughout the manuscript. It represents hoc, heg, hunc, hic. He collapses all of the cases into one word, one abbreviation, so he doesn't have to bother with it. Okay, so the health is created by the birth year. Electuaries are the flowers, the seeds of the cure, the herb of herbs, and whose flowers cure completely, of which flowers and animals I take care of, which is commanded by the Holy Son of God. The healing pages are arranged. I create the seeds of healing. When you have created the work of creation, of whom the Son is also, the healing is of the healers. But they are sacred electuaries. The constitution of the electuary is the healing from the flower. There are heavenly cures with the stars of the year. Healthy herbs are because of the following electuary cure. Now, this part I got stuck on because it was choppy. I was like, why is this sentence so much choppier than the rest? And it's because it's a list. It's not a typical sentence. It's a list. Okay? It says, we have created cures which are the labors of the Lord. For the electuary is the highest healing of the Son of God, to whom it is ordained to create health from the herbs and the oils from the seeds. It is the cure of cures, the healing page of which its labor I follow, and other curatives. It is with the following: the wheel of stars, whose stars bring health, which healing electuary, the stars of healing, the stars of flowers, the stars of curatives, the electuary creation of the flowers from the stars. Okay? Healing comes at dawn from this flower's seed. The lofty star, the seed of the electuaries. The stars of the electuaries with whose garden seeds this page creates in the roundel of the stars, which flowers follow the highest sequence in curative flowers, and the electuary garden around which you will have made it. You will have made the highest for the labor of healing, which for, meaning the four humors, which page, which labors, and which table to follow. So the dandelion and tiger lily seeds would be a cure for cancer. I have no idea. Are they? I don't know. I know you can make dandelion tea and things like that, but I don't know. All right, so that's Folio 1 Recto, or Folio 1R. So now we have a general idea of what to expect in this book. Okay? Hi, Cascadian. Okay, so lots of layered meanings, okay? And that's what made it hard to decipher. Okay? It didn't make it easy. Give you a hint, but it did make it easy. All right, so now we're going to talk about what the green liquid is. And these are little excerpts, but I'd rather show you the high resolution scan. So we're going to go to the Folio Sororum, and that's literally what he calls it, the Folio Sororum, the page of the sisters. Okay. The wheel of stars may also represent the zodiac or the passage of time. Cascadian, I will get there shortly. But you're not wrong. All right. A rabbit hole brought me here. If you've really translated this, it's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I have. In fact, let me show you. Let me show you something awesome. This is my book in the NSA's National Cryptologic Museum. It's archived officially. in the National Security Agency's museum library. And there's Yale's book right up here. Yep. Huge milestone. All right. Okay, so let's find the folio I was talking, or folios. All the weird plants, and we need the bathing sisters. They're not really bathing, they're making something. Okay, so this is the first page of the Folio Sororum, okay? See all these disrobed figures. Okay. And they all have ribbons in their hair and little crowns. Okay. And you see them in this green liquid, just bathing, relaxing, hanging out, you know, on so many different folios. Gets pretty weird, right? Tubes and things like that. I mean, it goes on and on. The Folio Sororum is, this section is quite lengthy. I've yet to tackle the Folio Sororum because there's so many pages. I know that they're referenced, but I haven't gone through them yet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Redacted. I appreciate it. So there's a Folio Sororum. And so these women have a central role in the entire manuscript, okay? I at first thought they were like nuns, right? Because he would use soror and sororum a lot. And I'm like, sisters, are these nuns? Why are they naked? What is going on here? It's because they're not nuns. They're not nuns. But we'll get to that. Okay, so we've talked about Curatorium and Codex Constellarium Aster sections. In Folio 1R, we've translated Folio 1R in entirety. We kind of talked about case collapse, dropped H's, multiple meanings for each Latin word, which was normal. I mean, he would have known that, right? Anybody reading that would go, okay, that also means this, this, and this, and this. So that's not strange in Latin. I am not going to go over the master list of names yet because I don't want to give anything away. Okay. But we already know to be looking toward the Far East because of the cipher, right? Redacted, I don't know if you were here, I don't think you were, for the cipher key, okay? But I'll read it really quick, it's very short. 271, I believe, in my book, yeah. All right. Okay, so here's the cipher key. Here's the passage down here. And then, yeah, it's Latin. With a little bit of German, and then also the Voynich abbreviation. I'm not going to call it Voynichese. It's cheesy. Me and my dad jokes. Okay, so the passage right here, or the the marginalia line is vox, limens, venen, vinifer, the word of life, the wine-bearing vine. And then we go into michiton ola de bas, but that's not correct. What's been called an A, those aren't A's. It's E-I, E-I. And then this is an A, bas. So that's not a D, those are S's. But bas is its own abbreviation as well, and so is ton, or tone, T-O-N. So if you translate it all, or unabbreviate it, it's Michitotiens Olii Dei Beatus Numen Licet Quatuor Talis Tenior Tenere da 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 da. Okay? And he says, I have myself so often been blessed by the oil of God. The divine power permits the four, meaning the four humors. Such am I held to keep the natural order, a simple mixture of threefold, meaning the oils, the stars, the plants. Okay? It ruled over mine, it was ruled by my authority, for indeed let them live for the sake of my being. Okay, and then the very last sentence is what kicked off the rabbit hole of all of this. Okay, it says the star determines the cure with strange things beyond or from afar. So take my spirit. And so because he's Swiss German, right, in the early 1400s, what's far away? The Far East, right? The Far East. That's why it says from afar. Okay, cum veilsch uberen sonim ges mich. So that is the cipher key. Okay. Telling you what two languages it is, German and Latin. Oh, that's interesting, right? But remember, correlation is not necessarily causation, but that is very interesting. It could have been another reason, maybe genetic. But that's neat. I'm going to look into that. Okay, so let's go back to where I'm going to. And that is travel routes. So we're going to go to Google Maps, Google Earth. Wait, can I pull up? Hold on. I love Google Earth. I'll sit there and, even when I was, when it first came out, I would sit there and scour and try to find archaeological sites. I still do it. All right. Person turquoise waving. Oh, I see the emoji down there. Okay, cool. Hi. I love turquoise. You sure you didn't read my book? Very good, Cascadian. All right. Untied. Okay. I just want to go to explore. There we go. I was thinking astrology figures, but only 10 ladies. Okay. Just as lost in the south. Am I not allowed to turn it? Okay, I don't think it likes archives open at the same time, so let's exit out of that.